تذكر يوما كنت تعانق دمعة الفكر تناجي الله في صبر وترجو رحمة تسري.
Story time. Just an FYI, most of the videos I take are one take. How did I become the Muslim? Well, when I was young, I lived in a small town. My family's Catholic. I grew up in a Catholic school. It was a town, all white people. Then I moved to a bigger city and saw that spice. Black, Arab, Indian, and of course, Asian. First Muslim I've met, they were Sudani. And their family treated like me, like family. So that was my first introduction. They were culturally Muslim, but I learned a lot from their brothers. So I always had a faith in God. Eventually though, slowly but surely, I was starting to realize that this is the truth. Like, it didn't stop at Jesus, peace be upon him. And the continuation kept on going with the last and final revelation with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I had to make a decision. Either accept the truth and be hated amongst my peers and friends and family, or live a life of sin, haram, and lie, most importantly to myself. Part 2 coming. Aywa, story time. Part 2. Yes, I want to clarify. Shit, it's cold. Every man must choose his own path. So we left off. My friend was Sudanese, and his family was the first that introduced me to Islam. It took me a long time. I did a lot of research, a lot of soul searching. And personally, it felt that I was being disingenuous with myself had I continued to be Catholic. And it was all in stages. Like initially, I stopped doing the sign of the cross and started just praying to God and stopped believing that Jesus was Son of God or the Immaculate. And I wouldn't eat pork as much. But still at that time, I was smoking every single day. Hashish! And I was drinking every weekend. And I was still a little kid. But I knew deep down, eventually I had to give this all up. If I were to do it all over again, I probably would have became Muslim earlier, so that I could work on myself earlier. People get twisted. They think you make less mistakes. I've probably sinned more within Islam than before. Part 3 coming. My short story to Islam, part 3. So the last time we left off, I already came to the conclusion that it was the truth. However, my desires and my lifestyle was preventing me on becoming Muslim. My family moved out west, Canada, and I decided to go with them. Actually, I didn't have a choice. And there, throughout the whole trip, I didn't do any drugs. No weed, no drinking, not even smoking. Well, maybe I had like a bogey here or two. Eventually, when we landed, it was in a small hick-ass town where people were amazed that I could speak English fluently. I was really upset because I was city boy. I didn't like this small hick-ass town. Everybody was naive and small-minded. Eventually, though, I hit rock bottom. I missed my friends. I got back into smoking weed and drinking, and I was just super unhappy. My parents got to the point, they were like, we give up on you. We don't care what you do. Just do whatever you want. Yeah, I would have preferred them beating the shit out of me than emotionally destroying me. But yeah, I remember I sincerely made dua that night. And I think that was the first time I cried. Part 4 coming. My short story to Islam, part 4. So we left off at me hitting rock bottom, getting back into drugs, then making sincere prayer one night, and I was crying. And literally, I just prayed for guidance. I prayed for just real change in my life. The morning of, I woke up early. I felt some form of relief, weight off my shoulders, as if my tawbah was accepted, repentance. I didn't feel good, but I felt content with myself. I had a trip booked back out east. I came back just to visit. I was coughing like crazy when I got off the airplane and hit the downtown because of the pollution, but it smelled like home. Later on, I connected with my friends, my old friends, which some of them turned out to be practicing. And then I went to the masjid, the mosque, and that's where I took my shahada. From there, I gained a lot of knowledge, learned as much as I could. I grabbed so many materials, and within like less than a month's time, I learned how to pray. Then I had to fly back. Part 5 coming. My short story to Islam, part 5. We last left off where I told my parents I took a trip back to my original city where I took my shahada there. A lot of people ask me though, how did your parents react? And surprisingly, they were okay with it. I heard of many horror stories, people getting kicked out, disowned from the family, force feeding them to eat pork. So I was a little bit reluctant on telling them. But I was like, you know what, I don't want to keep this a secret. And I told them right away. I have no idea why I said this to my dad, but he was like, tell me, okay, what is Islam? And I was like, you know, same thing, you believe in one God, but you know, there's no drinking, no smoking, and you can have more than one wife. And I swear to God, his reaction was, no drinking, no smoking, more than one wife? I like this religion. It worked for me because I turned my life around completely. I went from a disobedient piece of shit to obedient son or loving son. But for my parents, they don't care about religion. They care more about money, education, doctor, lawyer, accountant. like most parents. Part 5.5. My short story to Islam. Part 5.5. We last left off my parents' reaction. Surprisingly, they didn't kick me out or get angry or super upset, and they took it well. When I flew back out east to my original city, I linked up with the Muslim community there. The first time I prayed Jummah, I was there, and I saw how the community was. Very accepting, very diverse, and that's where I took my Shahada. It wasn't like I said my Shahada in front of everybody and then getting hugged by a whole bunch of random men. I just said it when I was there. And there were a couple of brothers helping me throughout the process, and that was it. From there on, I was introduced to the Muslim community, and I received a lot of books. One of the first things I learned how to do was to pray. Surprisingly, that wasn't too hard to do. It was more so praying all of them on time.
تذكر يوما كنت تعانق دمعة الفكر تناجي الله في صبر وترجو رحمة تسري فعاش القلب إخلاصا وصرت تحوم كالطير تحلق في ثقافات وتنهل من ربى الخير.